Okay, we're live.
Hi. Yes.
Hi.
Hi, hi. Does
So
my screen a bit it?
your roof is on an angle.
Okay. No. It's because it's pulling down on this what you call that? This thing. Now is it better now?
This thing is on an angle now. Line.
Because it's just the angle I'm sitting, I think. Because this wall is straight right on this side.
Okay, okay,
I don't know. Confused. I tried to follow the wall. I don't know. It's fine, it's fine. It is what it
okay.
is.
All right. I think we're okay. Okay, so how long have you been back in Chirate?
I came back maybe Friday. I came back on Friday.
Okay. All right. So we said that we would talk about. I actually want to refer to your almost your first article you wrote on eco transitions recently called um, "Growing Up Outside."
Yeah.
Yeah, I kind of want to reference that. So maybe I'll ask you to talk about detail. But basically, the reason I want to do that is actually because when I did the park, and we were able to do the books. We actually had
Yeah.
a we had actually had a chapter called
Animal life. Outdoor life.
Outdoor Life. So that's 2018. That's 8 years ago.
Mm.
So context is different. We didn't want, we didn't have a lot of content to describe what we were doing. We just did it.
Yeah.
We just showed pictures, and
Yeah.
so now we actually have quite a bit of detailed info that can help someone understand why we're doing it. We have uh, the great outdoors, playing in nature. There's a whole
Yeah.
list of things which I will list here as a guide
Yeah.
to why we're doing it, as opposed to just just sort of modeling it.
Mm.
Uh, but having said that, it's also all that content is very, very it's theoretical. It's about the science behind it and whatever. So I thought today might be quite interesting to just talk about the culture of living outside. And I think your article is kind of sets it up because you do what you do because you grew up in this culture, right? It was a family culture of yours. And I'll tell you a little bit about mine, but let's start with you.
Yeah.
Tell me a bit more about the basis of that article.
I mean, my mom was a kampong kid. She grew up around paddy fields.
Good.
That's her, background. And then that's on her father's side. And then when she goes back to Penang, Penang is on the coast. So then, you hear stories of her as a kid playing around the big boats in at the jetty fishing. And it was kids had more rain, just go out and then just come
Yep.
back at meal
Yep.
times and
Yep.
you'll be fine. And in my childhood, I would still kind of roam quite a distance, especially when I balik kampung to my grandparents' house. And this is the paddy farmer gets my cats climbing the tree. What's this? When I grew up in my
Oh, it's you.
grandfather's
You've got
place.
like a big civet in your behind you.
Yes. No, it's not a civet, it's my cat. My
Oh, it's
cat
your
Dean.
cat. Oh my gosh.
Yeah. They
Okay.
love this. But so when I was a kid and growing up in my grandfather's house, like I went back to Bali Kampung for the school holidays. We would walk along the river. We would, and my grandfather had big trees with monkeys. And so, although my mom grew up outside, but even my grandfather's kampong house was very outside as well.
Yeah.
And then my dad is a scout. He's born in KL, but he was a LaSalle boy school scout. And if anybody knows, they have a reputation for being like top-notch scout boys. So yeah, so he really was a camper, and my mom was a girl guide. So every time we had school holidays, we would, even on the highway, my dad will find ways to stop along the waterfall. And when we were kids, the Plus Highway was first built. So there's one picture of me, my brother, and my mom with at the side of the road. I think there was no rails even at the time, but the mountain mist in the background was just on the north-south highway. And today you don't get that kind of climate because it's got hotter, more deforestation, more development. So you can see from pictures in my childhood, for simple places that we can visit now, the environment has changed so much. So yeah, growing up outdoors was inherited for us
What
and also
about what
curated
about your
somehow.
what about your urban setting?
I grew up in PJ Section 5, which was also a very hutan area. So we had a lot of
So it
green.
was quite. You had a lot of natural space, though.
Yeah, and we used to, so me and my good friend from when I was in primary school, so she was from a different school, but we lived in the same neighborhood, like 4 or 5 houses apart. So there was another auntie with two daughters, and they were under strict schedule because they went to Quaching Girls. And so we would walk with the mother around our neighborhood because she would exercise, she would speed walk. And we would just kind of just, you know, play and run and walk. And I think we had more time with her outside than her own kids. So me and Suryati would climb down the longkang between two houses and just play down that way,
Mm.
collecting stuff, um, checking out all the neighbors' dogs. Uh, so it was very safe to be outdoors then, and I feel like we did learn a lot of like how to take care of ourselves and how to take care of our friend. So I guess yeah, we never really had. I don't remember being reprimanded for being outside. Yeah.
Right. So my childhood was we lived in a government house, and there were like two smallish bungalows side by side,
Mm-hmm.
and across the street was the Straits of Johor.
Nice.
So we could actually, I mean, we're obviously not allowed to cross ourselves, but in the
Yeah.
evening, maybe someone would take us. And when we were on the beach, we we're looking at the hermit crabs, digging up lala, looking.
Yeah.
It was not a pretty beach, but there
But
was
he was alive.
it was alive, yeah. And then
Yeah.
on this side, there was a very large longkang. There were longkangs that we could do what you did, like run around it. But
Yeah.
there was also a very big one that was more
Like a monsoon drain.
like a very large monsoon drain,
Yeah.
and there was a lot of sort of growth around it, and there
Yes.
were fireflies. People used to try and catch fish in it. Um, and then I said there were our two government houses, and then next to it was actually the what was it called now? The something lodge, Masonic Lodge, the Masonic Lodge,
Okay.
and the the guy that looked after it had three kids, and one of them was my age, and we used to play in the
Right.
compound.
Right.
And they were poor, and they had a little house. They had chickens. I think they grew something.
My grandfather never had chickens, but my grandfather had like a quarter acre of land behind his house that
Yeah,
he would grow things seasonally. So we would, during the school holidays, he would borrow the tractor from somebody, and then he'll plow the land, and we'll grow like jagung, tebu, and pumpkins. So as kids, right, we're just you thing, just hanging out and being busybody with the adults. So
yeah.
yeah, I think like you caught fishes in the longkang.
I didn't. Uh, what did I do? I mean, we did a lot of playing with nature, like leaves and flowers and mud
Yeah,
and making things and
yeah,
running around. So it was actually a lot of activity.
yeah,
And it was all self-determining. We decided what it was. We had to deal with our own little peer group of who would, whatever. But this is
yeah.
like young childhood, and then we moved to KL, and then everything changed. So when I was like
I
10
mean,
years
when I was
old,
a teenager, I used to cycle with my friends because by then I was in high school in Perlis,
yeah,
and we would cycle from Kanga town to the not the border, but like to Guakalam, which is very close to the border. It's like 40 kilometers, and we would do this on the bicycle. We would get run off by big lorries truck, tumbling through and this small kampong road. So I got rooted. And I think that's another thing that when you're outside, also you get all the scars of being outside. And I think
Yeah.
like until today, I can remember from the scars that I have on me what I did and how I got them.
Right.
It was like
Right.
kind of like a
Yeah.
badge.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's like a Christmas exchange your scar story kind of thing. Yeah,
Yeah.
because my godparents were all in KL. Yeah.
So I do want to say that, although we're describing it something quite idyllic and privileged, we didn't
Yeah.
have it all the time. It was like for a certain, it was
But
like
it
for
was
an,
cheap. It
and it was,
was
but no, but it was
costless.
what I'm trying to say. It was a very specific era, and then it
Yeah.
changed. Then
Yes.
like I moved to KL, and we didn't have that anymore. It was
Yeah, yeah,
waiting
yeah.
waiting for a school van to take me. Living
Right, right,
in a
right.
very developed housing estate.
Yeah.
And then I actually was going to my grandma's place in Moa, which gave me small freedom. I could go on a bicycle and
Nice.
go around and stuff like that. So, I don't think it's about a very, have continuing a very specific kind of life. So in some ways, it's really about, are you looking for that kind of life? I mean, is that something that
I
you,
feel like if
you know,
I had a choice of living anywhere I could, I would, believe it or not, either live in a mature suburb in the city, which already has trees, it's already stabilized,
right,
which is why I lived in TTDI for a long time.
right,
Or I would live outside where it's mountains and forest
yeah,
instead of beach.
yeah,
So it would be, I could do a rural landscape, but I would also need to kind of find a space that allows, not just, it's not just about the outdoors, it's about the quality of your time spent outside. So what you smell, what you see, what you're
sure,
eating, the people around you.
yeah,
Here I feel it's very. I'm audio. I hear the beach all day. I know people like it. People like it
you
as
don't like
white
it?
noise. I find it hard to hold a conversation with like
Yeah,
agitated
I, I,
guests
I think I know what you
with
mean,
the
actually.
waves, like
No, I
going
know what you
from the
mean.
back.
I remember I had a very long vacation in Hawaii. I think it was like 2 weeks or something. And for one of those weeks, I arranged to meet a friend, and we took this place right on the beach. And quite
Right.
frankly, it was too much. It was so
It's
loud.
very overwhelming.
It was so loud
Yeah.
that it actually took a couple of days to adjust to it. I mean, it was
Yeah.
fantastic in some ways, but in other ways, it was also.
Also because
But
I've stayed here during the monsoon, like the heavy monsoon where I'm losing like beachfront.
mm,
So it's kind of embedded a little bit of trauma. I'm like, oh my god, it sounds so loud. Are we gonna lose like 2 feet of beach? Is the staircase gonna still
yeah,
be there when I come out tomorrow? So yeah, it's got a fear factor for me now that I've
yeah,
lived here for a year.
yeah. But, and then after that, even going to school in the UK and college, we were in
Yep.
first I went to school in Ramsgate and then in Loughborough, and the school was in fairly rural setting. There was a farm behind us.
Mm,
It was on quite big ground. So, you were actually, you were looking at a lot of stuff and
yeah.
interacting with, walking through it.
Yeah.
Uh, University also the same. A lot of, there was nature. And I say that because when I see young kids now in like Johor Bahru,
Yeah.
they don't have that. They're not walking through any kind of nature.
Everywhere.
Yeah, they're
Yeah,
in a
it's
very,
everywhere.
very urbanized grid. Um, they have a bit of what I had as a kid is that they're not allowed to actually go too far because it's dangerous. There's traffic, there's predators, human predators, child predators.
Yeah.
So it doesn't feel it doesn't feel that safe. Whereas when I lived in the States, like in the city felt very, very safe. You're walking through parks.
Yeah.
Obviously, you don't do it at night, but in the most of the day, you can walk.
Yeah.
You can stop, and it's safe to drink water, and you can have something to eat. And
Mm,
at the weekend, you could go and do something not very far. Central
yeah.
Park, 50 something miles of walkable hiking trails. Uh, so I'm, I guess where I'm sort of trying to head to is like,
Yeah.
w- what do we do? What are we supposed to do? Because I think one problem is when I look at uh, Malaysians, I don't think they understand that they've lost something in their very urbanized space. You know that they can't do this. They think
Yeah.
they've replaced it with something higher value, an expensive car, an air conditioned mall, an air conditioned.
Mm.
I think there is. It feels as if they've gone up the food chain, but actually, in doing so, we've lost something as well.
I feel like a lot of people tend to want to now the, the middle ages have better jobs, I would say, stabilized income to dual income, which kind of has a double-edged sword because you
Sure.
can afford good housing area like Setia Eco Park or some eco city somewhere that's designed townships. But they've also, because they are dual income families, that means that the child's being raised more by mates. And then there is a authority, politics around like, where's my kid? Are they back yet? Have
Yep.
they done their homework?
Yep.
So it's not just about the fact that they probably have access to the outdoors. It's just that it's more regulated because the chain of command has increased. It's not a relationship between you and your mom. Your mom trusts that you know
That's
how to take care of
interesting
yourself,
because you're already
you know?
talking about a family culture of the outdoors,
Yes.
right? Which is kind
It's
of
changed a
interesting
lot. Yeah,
because
like my
I
relationship with my parents about
yeah
going out is very different. Like when I was 14, when I was 13 and a half, it was the first time that I went for a holiday by myself in Langkawi. So it wasn't really by myself. I stayed with my uncle's wife, who was a hotelier in Langkawi. But every day I had a budget of how much money I could spend to go and explore the place. So I went with some of her bellman and kitchen staff and stuff. And one day we go like island hopping. Another day I'll go like what was it? Ikut nelayan or something like that. So I stayed there for like 4 days, and I stayed in her staff accommodation with her. And at 13, right, my job was at 5, I have to call my dad. So whatever I'm doing at 5, to be on the phone with a phone card, calling my dad. So if I didn't check in, right, yeah, it's so great, right? So that trust you build as a child, the sense of self-responsibility, because as a kid, right, you don't really know how much people take care of you until you have to
sure.
take care of yourself. And
Yeah.
I think I panicked at some parts of it because I'm like, shit, there's no bus. It's like Langkawi was so rural back then. And I'm like, is it okay if I ask this pakcik for a ride on a motorbike to get to that point? Is it safe? He's stranger
Right.
danger, but I
Yeah.
need
Yeah.
help,
Yeah.
sunsetting.
Yeah.
So, yeah, you take this risk.
Yeah.
Oh, you kind of, okay. First, it was nice because when asked him for directions, he was really kind. When I asked him how far do I have to walk, he said like, oh, I can just send you by motorbike. So there were things that you process as you are outdoors. Like how we teach
Yeah.
forest school. Kids learn
Mm.
how to
Yeah.
process a
Interesting.
lot of
Yeah.
their
Yeah.
emotions to regulate
Yeah.
based on what they see, how they are responding to conditions, and the successes that they build from small experiences to bigger experiences and bigger experiences over time. So this is the building of that database.
Yeah. It's interesting
So
because
yeah,
my early childhood, we were not allowed to go onto the street, but
right.
but within the boundary of these four streets was actually a very large compound. There was our two house compound with a big monsoon drain over here. At the back, there was the English college field, which we would sometimes cross with the maid to go to the Kedai Rented to buy something. I mean, it was actually a large
Open
outdoor.
space.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I didn't interact with it with my parents. This was something where we were allowed to do on our own. When it
Nice.
was with our parents, it was much more organized. It was about a picnic. We would go for a picnic.
Curated.
Yeah, we go for a picnic somewhere. I don't know, at the waterfall, or we go to Lido Beach in the weekend.
Right, right, right,
We
right.
go to Cameron Highlands or Fraser's Hill for
Mm.
vacation. And then as that progressed, I do remember now that I realized that not a lot of people. In fact, I don't think I knew anyone in my age group that took vacation. It was a
Okay.
very Western concept.
So
Maybe
when
you
I
have
was in primary school, a
Yeah.
lot of my friends were rich and
Yeah,
rich,
I think it's a
financially
class thing.
rich.
Yeah, it's a class and
Yeah,
income thing.
and they would go to Australia and they would go to Singapore and they would bring back chocolates. And that's
Yeah,
how, as a kid, your friend has traveled abroad because you're getting these like bonbon chocolate things that
right.
you never find it here.
Yeah.
So I would get it when my dad's brother married a German. So when he came once a year just before Christmas, he would bring back all these chocolates. Then we would have them. We'd be like, okay, we didn't travel, but chocolate traveled to us. So that was our sense of the world. It was a chocolate world. Yes.
Mm. So I think by the time I was like 12 and 13, we were starting to do vacations in new places. For example, we went to Penang, I remember,
Right.
and we had a beach vacation at this hotel. And I remember coming across the hotel in Vogue. It's actually
Nice.
one of Vogue's top 10 secrets.
Hey, Tanjong Bunga is quite nice, yeah.
It's
Until today, it's
it's just
quite
an
nice.
old 60s hotel, but it's casuarina
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
trees. It's
You
really
know that
quite.
the hotel with
Yeah.
the Hard Rock Club in
I
Penang,
don't know what that is. I don't know what that is.
but that row of hotels are
Yeah.
still very beautiful. They're
Oh,
old,
yeah.
but they've been well refurbished.
Yeah.
They have nice. Yeah.
Yeah. But you know what was really funny is that on the last day, um, my m- my mom couldn't find me. Yeah, and you know why? Because I didn't feel well. And you know why I didn't feel well? I had sunburn,
Oh no!
and I didn't know I had it because
So much time in the sun.
we'd never been for a week at the beach, outside digging sand, all that stuff.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
No one told us not to, to protect
Too much
ourselves.
is what is too much.
It
Yeah,
was too much. It was too much.
yeah.
So the last day I was feeling really quite ill. And I sort of,
Right.
I don't know if I sat in the lobby, like very quiet or something. And she's like, what you mean? She kind of got crazy. So that's funny. So nature also requires some direction, right? You kind of need to know what to do about it. Yeah.
You have
Okay.
wave and currents. So
Yeah.
if you're not, prepared for that, yeah.
And then fast forward to today, and I see a huge diversity in experiences. I know people whose kids are going to Hokkaido for winter holidays. Malaysians, they're going for shopping holidays in Milan.
Right.
Uh, so they're seeing it, they're seeing different things.
For sure.
So we don't really have and I compare this to like the States. The States has this very cultivated, great outdoors life, which is very much shaped by the season. You go
Mm,
hiking in the fall,
yeah.
campfire and hiking, uh, winter sports in the winter. You kind of know what to do, and the seasons drive you into those activities.
But I also feel like it's
Yeah.
very mature as an outdoor appreciation space.
Yeah,
If you think
it's a
of like John
mature,
Muir,
it's developed. Yeah.
yeah, they
Yeah.
explored this space, the Grand Canyon. It was heavily documented from the
Yeah.
late 1700s.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah.
okay, yes, mining, but at some point it became nature reserve, and then you had
Yeah.
Yellowstone National Park. So you have all these places which
Yeah.
were very established, already by the 19th century. So,
Which is why I want to have this conversation because
yeah,
maybe we're early in that, and we actually don't know how to cultivate an outdoor culture for ourselves. You know what I mean? Like, it's like Singapore, I think, are further along the line because,
yeah,
when I came back, they were just beginning to build a lot of their parks.
yeah.
They started with this very grand gardens by the bay, very very showy, and then they started to build all these smaller ones like
Yeah, hawker
the
parks,
park.
yeah.
Yeah, and then I started to see it being more of a sort of a weekend thing. I could see
Yeah.
families walking out. Whereas when I go to KL and I see families going to like Tugu, it seems very intentional. They're wearing spandex and doing a very serious
Wanted to
hike.
go to the place. I think Singapore did it right because they had many things in mind. It was a triangulation between Blue Zone achievement, uh, happiness index, as well as having a park 5 minutes away from where you live.
Okay,
So
that's important. That's
they had
important.
these things that they were
Yeah.
fitting at the time. They had this
So
very grand idea.
that's important. I mean, that's actually a very big and a very sophisticated idea, and it's
Yep.
actually the idea can be described as you shouldn't have to escape the city. You
Yeah.
should have escaped in the city.
Yes.
You're able to just walk out, and
Yeah.
within 400 meters, you are able to leave a very urbanized grid and find yourself in nature. So that's quite a
Yeah.
sophisticated idea that
Yep.
hasn't even begun to really percolate here. Like here, I see that they're building a new park near me, and the idea for that park is
Sure.
is kind of crazy to me because they want to build like a hyper modern park, very
The
very
people who are designing these parks
very
don't spend time in
techno.
parks. That's the problem.
Yeah, yeah,
And they
yeah,
don't spend time outdoors. Kids don't need all this fancy stuff. They just need,
yeah,
space that they can sit in the shade, play with the water. They like streams. Kids like collecting
yeah.
things. Kids like seeing things that are moving by themselves. And I
I
think,
think that also it sort of describes our developmental situation. I mean, I remember that even when I was like 16 or 17, I'd already gone
yeah,
abroad. I came back and I bought some postcards,
right.
and there were pictures of rickshaws with very dilapidated walls behind them, very artsy.
Yes, yes.
And then my stepmom looked at them and she's like, "Are you going to send those to your friends?" And I was like, "Yeah, they're beautiful."
That's Malaysia.
And she said,
That's Malaysia.
why would you send them like such rundown images of this country? We have beautiful new hotels and blah blah blah." And I was like, "Oh, so that's where we are. We our aspirations are still very developmental country kind of aspirations. Whereas I think in a more
People still
progressive
ask me if we live
country,
country when I was there. So
yeah. Whereas in a more sophisticated country, we're looking back and thinking, oh, that fisherman's cottage, that woodcutter's cabin is,
yes.
you know. Whereas here, that new village house is like, oh, that reminds me of my grandparents' rubber tapper life, and
But
it's
isn't that part of the fun?
yeah. I guess it's just that that's where we are now. We haven't really transitioned to this idea of the simple life as being the simple life is still something I think as a society are still running away from. It still represents poverty.
Yeah. Yep.
And we don't really look at it as aspirational and got to get back to that kind of a thing.
I feel
You
like
know?
it's just a lack of comfort within our skin. I think we're just not comfortable with ourselves. We feel like it's not enough. And I think there's something ingrained,
Yeah.
that, you need to be this or that. And whatever you intuitively develop is a false idea. So I think as we mature and we find our own truths, I think, yeah, we will be more appreciative of what we have, whether it is a beluga in our backyard or a
Yeah.
little bit of a stream. And not everyone will be able to afford a stream behind their house, so that's
It's also complicated by very racially siloed ideas of
for
what is
sure.
what is outdoors, what is nature.
Yeah.
If you're richer, more privileged, and probably, I mean, I hate to say, but that's what the data says. It's probably a Chinese family. I did actually last week I looked at some data,
Mm-hmm.
just released 2026, but it's
Right.
2025 data.
Mm-hmm.
The Chinese community earns double the Malay community.
Sure.
Their
They have more
salaries
businesses.
4,000 and something, and the Malays and Indians are 2,000 and something. So that is actually something that needs to be fixed. You know,
Mm.
it needs to be fixed because it would be better for us if the Malays and the Indians earn 4,000 as well.
Yeah.
Our economies would surge.
Yeah.
The
Yeah.
money
Yeah.
comes back to us.
Yeah.
So the aspiration should be that we all earn that kind of level of
Yeah.
income,
Yeah.
but that's not what's happening yet. But anyway, uh, but culturally, we also have different ideas about aspiration, what we do. I think, like I told you the other day that actually the Malay community is actually more likely to do outdoor hiking
Mm.
It's like a cooler activity. A lot of the young people do it. They do a lot of hiking and bicycling.
Yep.
There's a lot of bicycling. I
Mm.
don't see the Chinese community doing that so
In
much.
KL, yes, a lot of
Yeah.
Chinese people. Yeah, 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 hiking but also the other thing is that a lot of Chinese young people that I know from Raleigh and stuff like that, they go hiking locally and then they go to Taiwan and they go to
Right.
Korea and then they go to Taiwan, Korea. Um, I guess that's the other one. Huh? There's like three places that they like to go. Taiwan, Korea, remember the other one, whether it is Thailand or something else. But yeah, they go. Oh, the new one is China, but like still not as many people that I know go to China for nature hikes and stuff like that.
Yeah,
But
Korea
a
is a
lot
big
more go to
deal.
Taiwan. Pardon?
Korea is a big deal. I was speaking to
Maybe Hong Kong. Maybe it's Hong
uh,
Kong. Yeah.
talking to a Grab driver, a Malay Grab driver, and he was telling me that because he was talking about we were talking about language, right? And he was telling me that it's actually quite difficult because he in a lot of his when he has a Chinese customer, he sometimes struggles because of language. You know, they don't want to speak anything about Mandarin.
All Malaysians should speak Malay.
They should. They should. So
And
anyway, what was he telling me? Oh yeah, he was telling me, but a lot of young Malaysians are learning Korean.
yes,
Yeah. So
yes, you watch a lot of Korean movies.
so I think a lot of this is also about how we shape aspirational culture, you know? You know, rather than just let it run wild. Because them wanting to learn Korean is actually the world just landing on us and we are just rolling with it, you know? We are we are just influenced because that just landed on our timelines, you know?
But I feel like like if you are born like mid 70s, late 70s, a lot of people were into like J-pop and Japanese like stuff.
Okay.
And then the kids who are like 80s to 2000s are into like K-pop and like Korean stuff. So I think it is just yeah, I think it's just a trend thing, It's like just so happen to they
No, but
produce so many things.
the trend thing is also driven by the fact that we are just open to global influence. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
No one's forcing it on us. It's just literally just
Yeah.
uh like and it's always been the case that when I was a teenager here, I was listening to Earth, Wind and Fire and
Right.
disco. I mean it was all uh very driven by Western ideas about
Yeah.
what you're supposed to do. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
So I guess what I'm trying to say is we don't have enough thought leadership about crafting a culture of our own that is based on our own nature, our heritage. It either feels very I feel like when I came back and I liked the American attitude towards the outdoors. It's just part of life, you know. Let's go for a hike, you know.
Right.
Let's grill a burger when we're out there, build a campfire, grill a burger. It's not too complicated, not too
We
difficult.
do that too.
Huh?
We do that too. We
Okay,
satay.
I'll tell you what is different here. When I came back and I thought I wouldn't mind having a little bit more nature because there's so much nature here. And then, I tried to join like the Malaysian Nature Society. And
Mm.
they want to do like really, really serious stuff. That means I had to buy the right clothes so that what's that thing that the blood sucking thing that goes up your leg and you're sleeping on a hard bed. And I was like, that is not the idea of the outdoors in the US. The outdoors is soft there. It's very casual. It's very comfortable. Uh, you can engage with it at the weekend. You can engage with it at a long weekend. It's not something you have to really be all toughened up about and, that kind of thing. Uh, you're kind of frozen.
That-
Okay, let's see if you get this message. You've kind of frozen. Yeah. Ooh, not stopping. Okay. You've completely frozen, so maybe just re switch it on again or something. Okay, you're back. I resend you an invite.
I can hear you now.
Oh, okay.
Wait,
Yes.
wait.
No sound. No sound. No sound. Yeah.
I don't know. If
Oh,
I
yeah,
get
no,
out,
no, no, can, no, can, no, can. Yeah,
I can.
yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
So I was saying
Mhm.
that the we haven't really crafted. I mean, it's actually a general problem. It's about crafting a Malaysian. What is the idea of being a Malaysian? So our idea of the an outdoor life is also very different between communities. Yeah,
Yeah.
between different classes, and I think that's the difference with let's say life in America. Different classes are they might do it at different price points, but they're all doing roughly they're going out for the weekend, they're going to the beach, they're surfing, they're snowboarding, they're skiing, they're doing they're hiking, maybe at different price points, you know, but they're sharing
I
a
mean, here
kind
you
of
get your Malay families that go to these little areas where there are rivers, and then they have this little pondok, and then
yes,
they
yes.
do their
There's
barbecue
yeah,
picnic.
yeah.
And then you have more of the caravans and people swooping up their vans
Yeah,
into like
yeah,
sleeping
yeah,
places.
yeah.
You also have a lot more like glamping sites where you can, just bring your bags and sleep in an already built tent. So there is a variety now. And I think
So
Malaysians are slowly getting there. I think also because that sense of adventure exists with yeah.
okay. Yeah, I think also, I think the other problem may be we're also losing natural assets a little bit.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? I mean, like Cameron Highlands is very different from what it used to be. You know, even the beaches. I mean, Johor Bahru had a beach. We had a beach called Lido Beach. We don't have a beach anymore. Yeah. And then is Port Dixon still a thing? Do people still go to Port Dixon?
Yeah, people still go to Paddington. It's very accessible. It's the closest beach to KL. Yeah.
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 But I don't really see it as a thing, it's like I mean, like, obviously, actually now Johor, they're trying to develop Peru as a destination. Uh, so there's more availability of these kind of things, but it's not great. It's not really that great.
I think
Um,
so. The thing is this, right? When we were kids, nature was still very pristine. So you go to a place when it's raw. Now there's a lot of curation that needs to be done to make it um interesting. So they build facilities. Like there's this beach in Kuantan called Teluk Cempedak. It's a beautiful beach. They built the promenade and got the best. So you sit at McDonald's, 20 feet, 10 feet, yeah, 20 feet in front of you is the beach. It's like rolling waves coming in. So it's really shanty. But that's it, like it's a built environment in front
Yeah.
of nature.
But
You know?
yeah, it's interesting because that's also something I see. It's like they don't want nature. They actually want a kind of version of nature. For example, like Desert, they want to build a wave machine so you can do the surfing and the thing. Uh, in JB they want to build a ice rinks and snow type places. It's almost as if they don't see the value of what we have and turn it, you know what I mean? It's like
For me, when I travel up towards Kidal and into Terengganu, and I've had to go to Kuala Terengganu once since I've been working here, I feel I leave Jerating and I drive towards Kuala Terengganu. It's so idyllic that it's the East Coast because
yeah,
the kampong houses are so cute. Their garden landscape is so cute. It's so colorful. It's so friendly. Bunga raya everywhere. Bunga kertas everywhere. Bougainvillea. And then you see all these tall, towering coconut trees waving as the wind blows. And I think these are aesthetics that we don't value.
no, we're
We just
losing.
don't
Yeah,
we just gonna enjoy these things that we see.
yeah,
The beautiful clouds or the blue sky. It's so amazing. You don't see this in the city. And then at night when you're driving out or you're sitting on the beach, it's stars. It's a carpet of stars on the ceiling. It's amazing. But people come, they sit in their little chalets, they
yeah,
walk from one point to another point with the torchlight, and they miss all the beautiful things.
yeah,
Like you said, you saw fireflies in the longkang.
yeah,
Here, if you walk around without the torchlight, you will see the stray one or two fireflies. But if you flash a torchlight, you're not gonna see it.
right,
You're just gonna miss that individual. And sometimes I walk around with the torchlight when it's pitch dark because I'm looking for something or I'm going to assist a guest, and I can find like eye shine. And if I follow it, I will find a small frog. I will find a box turtle. I will find a lot of spiders. So it doesn't have to be sophisticated outdoors.
sure,
It's
yeah.
curiosity and it is your ability to be a little bit adventurous. And I think you can see this in the city as well. I don't think you need to be like out here, out here. So it's super windy now. All the doors are slamming.
Yeah, I think it's just not serviced very well. For
Yeah.
example, we, uh, the Farm Fresh own have a farm in UPM or is it UPM?
Right. Like a demo farm.
In Serdang. Yeah. And one of my clients was kind of involved with, and they were trying to open a cafe, and and so we because it's only like half an hour from the city center, so
Yeah.
it's very close to for people to go to, and
Yeah.
it ended up being so popular that they actually had to change the direction of what they were doing because they it was they had to go to a very low cost offering, otherwise they couldn't service all the people that were coming.
Right,
Mm.
right, right,
They,
right, right.
they
It's
they
just
started off
volume, yeah.
they started buying like pizza machine and high-end Italian coffee and stuff like that, and they ended up
Right.
having to go down to like providing nasi lemak for many many more people. You know, so
Yeah.
there is definitely a pent up. People do want to do stuff. I think it's not very
Yeah.
well directed into like what to do, how to do it. We don't have a lot of content about it either. You know,
Okay, so remember we had this conversation about going back to the same spaces multiple times so that for the experience gets richer. You
yes,
start
yes,
reminiscing about
yeah,
the place. So this is another thing Malaysians don't have. They don't go revisit places. Like
yeah,
for me, right? We went to Bimaland after it shut down, yeah, so many times. So the whole park had shut down. But then areas where the campsites were, so we go in and look at them. And keep going back to the same place every holiday. And like obviously my grandparents' kampong is where we would go every time, and every time we go, we learn something different about the place. Our own backyards, we keep going out every day to the same places and self entertaining. And yeah, I feel like when you filter
Yeah.
this from a stackable lens, okay, if I start with this and I build on and I build
Yeah.
on and I build on, it, you don't need to go to so many spaces and spend so much money.
Actually, another thing that relates to that this is actually, this idea of like having a rhythm of re- doing things, which is actually that sort of American way outdoors. It's
Yeah.
in the weekends, it's long weekends, and they only have they it's tend to be more unified around a much smaller number of festivals and holidays. Whereas I think we are really broken up across the year with many, many, festival, Chinese, so, and
Mm,
then we are directed to doing very specific things for that. And we don't
mm,
build this rhythm of this sort of weekending and nature-based holidays, because we're so busy doing all these other things, you know.
yeah.
Not forgetting that we're also driven by very modern pursuits like going to the mall,
Yes.
and hanging out at the mall.
Mm,
So yeah, I think it's also it's a cultural thing that needs developing. And just on the
yep.
subject of content, we were just talking about we're trying to build a sort of a library of books and stuff. I mean, like you and I both read License, Famous Five, and Secret Seven,
Yeah.
and we could relate to that, right?
Yeah. 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 Yeah.
Right? I don't think a kid can relate to that now. You
Yeah.
know,
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
that idea of just let's the five of us escape into this and do all these things, and because you don't do it. You're much more managed now.
Young kids who live not in town, still go fishing. There are still these kids, but
Sure.
you know, it's getting less for sure. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
So so when you don't do that, there's no content about it.
Yeah.
So something like a Time Out magazine, which would be the only kind of magazine that might write about America, is not covering stuff like this, right? Uh,
I think they swing a little bit more commercial. Like where people that will be open 7 days a week, and you can all your kids, all your different age groups will be able to find something. So they
yeah,
so it's harder for niche experiences for specific like age groups or interest areas to exist and sustain because the drive is for people with multiple children trying to go for everything at the same
yeah,
time. And yeah, as a small operator, I think it's really quite hard unless you're big enough to host everything. But I also
yeah,
feel like you said, like a farm fresh experience. Um, Although they started off very niche and very high end, and then they had to mass produce, food and curated content. That it shifts its audience, and
yeah,
the quality also changes because yeah, you can't keep showing off the cow like all day. The cow will go
yeah,
berserk.
yeah.
So yeah.
I was also just reading about. I mean, malls are a reality here. Like, thinking
Yeah.
like, how can how the malls can be involved with it. Then I was just reading about how in Bangkok there's like a new mall called Nextopia. Very different value systems, sustainability, organic, a lot of outdoor components. I mean, so I guess what I'm suggesting here is that our our private sector is not that innovative about.
No, but you look at the One Utama Secret Garden. You've been there before,
Okay,
right?
I've never been to that, and I want to go
Oh,
there.
you need to come.
How busy is it? Do people go there?
So the thing is, right? When they did this, there is a large section of the ground floor that has been turned into a big aquarium type space and then they have trees that grow up 4 to 5 floors, and there's a canopy walk that walks between the buildings, so there's a hollow in the building. But it's in the front section of One Utama on the new wing. And on the roof, they have a secret garden, which is a totally rooftop
Yeah, yeah. I know the
cultivated landscape. Yeah.
Dr. Francis Ng, right? It's the guy that did.
Yeah.
Yeah, yeah.
So I think that's a very interesting direction for a mall. However,
Absolutely.
there is no ticketing fee to enter. So maybe the cost of operations is very high. Because especially the downstairs one where when you're at the base of the floor of the forest, it is literally a riverine system. So you have big aripaimas in the tanks. So it's very beautiful. Yeah.
Yeah.
I always bring my
I
visiting
I
guests
actually think it
there.
doesn't even have to be so complex
Yeah,
because
for sure, for
there's
sure.
a huge payoff. I mean, if you have a great, so so to speak, indoor park,
Yeah.
like for example, a waterfall thing in Changi,
Yeah.
in
Yeah.
Singapore,
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
it's such a big draw. It would bring people there. It you
Yeah.
know it provides custom
But
to all the.
I would say One Utama did have that aspirational, like, okay, we're gonna bring the forest into the mall. Yeah, I think they achieved that. Forest in
Yeah,
the mall. Yeah.
I think it's a real outlier though. I don't really.
Yes. It's
Yeah,
not
it's
common for
not
sure.
really. And it
Yeah.
didn't drive. It didn't drive other malls to aspire to do the same. You know what I mean?
I think they set the benchmark very, very high.
Yeah. All I see is just a lot of vertical
Yes.
greenery.
Yes.
Now they can't even bother to do it. They just do plastic plants. You know.
Okay, so for in the defense of the PAM building, the Persatuan Architect Malaysia building, they do
Yeah.
have pockets on the facade, which is like a planter box balcony, and the plants can grow like 2 stories high on the outside. So yeah, and then they're the home of the Green Building Malaysia Index. So they got some brains together to get that done. Yeah,
Mm.
yeah.
I mean, there was a time where I would
But you
actually.
see, yeah.
I mean, there was a time that I would actually be more motivated to go and say, "Hey, would you be interested in doing this project?" And I don't have that motivation. But that would be the solution. There needs to be there needs to be some breakthrough successes that other people will copy, and then it will
Yeah.
catch fire.
I think
But
part of it is because Malaysian businesses are so cost conscious.
and
It's
risk
good to
averse.
be Yes,
Risk
it's
averse. They,
good to be
they want to
cost
do something
averse.
new. They want
Yeah,
to do what they
good to
did
be cost
before.
conscious, but the risk adversity is so high that it becomes so ridiculous because they're putting safeguards after safeguards, and then it's the redundancy, and you don't get the quality. And
Yeah,
they want to be cheaper year on year. And I'm like, if you keep cutting costs year on year, you'll have nothing. But the understanding of what is a living system is not there. So the system has not matured, but they want to keep cutting back on cost.
yeah. Actually, interesting. It's just
Projects.
today the news is starting to percolate about the Sultan Abdul Samad building in KL, which now Nani, I told you Nani is involved in.
Mm.
That looks quite interesting.
Yeah, 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 yeah.
So that's a
Because
combination of
it's a museum, yeah.
heritage, but heritage also sometimes has a little bit of nature involved. There's a padang and there's a
Yeah.
because they're just older spaces. Uh,
Yeah.
you know. Yeah, where it doesn't. I just don't see a real. I don't see a real I don't see a real motivation to move into these things. It's still, every time I see a sort of a park proposed, it's nothing like the High Line in New York or, something really cool and
Yeah, it's
natural.
that risk adverse, cost
Yeah,
conscious
yeah,
nonsense
yeah.
culture.
I
Because you
don't,
see, all the people that's deciding on the money
yeah,
don't understand the philosophy.
no,
When they don't understand the philosophy and they're not in love with the idea,
yeah.
you're talking them into it every time. Every time there's a meeting, you're trying to convince them.
Well,
When
I
the
think the basic reasoning for that
way,
is because the first question is, how can we make money? As opposed to, how can we make something really cool and that will just turn into money, It's just a different path. So They're
Yeah, I think the
red,
how do
but
we make money is too big a question in their mind.
it's too big a drive here that it they just keep wanting
Yeah,
to go. They keep jumping to that as the first place,
yeah.
and then I have to say that, and then the human resource underneath it also is not informed enough to really create difference. For example, I told you about that thing when like somebody from Toppen approached me, and I was really quite excited because I thought, oh, Toppen, they have all, they have this wonderful outdoor space outside of
Mm,
their buildings that they're
yeah.
trying to do something. And then they end up wanting to do some stupid planting vegetable thing, and I'm like, this could have been so much cooler and more interesting.
Mm.
So, yeah, so not happening. Remember when we were doing like in Iskandar with all the stuff that we were doing then?
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
I don't feel the same now. I don't feel that kind of optimism,
Excitement.
right?
I don't know. I had hope for the Saru project, so I don't know.
Okay, it's coming along.
Right.
Um, the earthworks is sort of any minute now. You know,
Okay.
there's been a lot of noise around the building of the glamping, the sports side. So once that settles, we'll start thinking about what we're gonna do. But I think my attitude to it is actually I'm less interested in trying to convince someone else to do something as I am to like,
Right.
here, this is what I can do. This is my small thing.
Yeah.
I can come and scale it here if you're interested.
Yeah.
And actually just partner up rather than as before, like when we did that park thing. I mean, it's it didn't work out. That system doesn't work out. Going and convincing big bucks Kazana, loved it, got the funding, did it, moved into a different pair of hands, lost it. You know?
That's just sad, because it was very beautifully designed. It was
Nice.
maturing at the point that you left.
Yeah.
And they
Right.
don't understand that it takes 4 to 5 years for a site to mature.
Yeah.
Even when you buy the trees half age, they need to have their root system,
Yeah.
secured. They need to. It's like when you move to a different town. It takes you 2 years before you really feel at home.
Yeah.
The language, the new people you meet, finding where all your conveniences are. The
Yeah.
same thing that happens to a human being when they move house is the same thing that happens to a plant when you move them. But it's hard to explain to suit type people, and
Yeah.
it's a great loss to everyone.
Okay, well, here we are back at another depressing point to end our conversation.
No, but the
It
nature's
is a
out
bit
there.
depressing.
Nature's out there.
Right. Yeah.
So yeah, it's about
Yeah.
how.
Okay, so let's put this in perspective. We come from a traditional, I mean, look at our childhood memories of
Mhm.
being outdoors. They're very real. They're very much part of a Malaysian experience. You know, we share a lot of the same narratives. Going to longkangs and five.
Yeah.
It's there. It's just
Yes.
we've just been redirected into all these other areas that even like sometimes I look and see this that the idea is the outdoors is so extreme that and I don't like it. I mean, I'm like, why would you want to kill yourself in spandex cycling when you could just, if you, but wouldn't it be better if you had better green infrastructure in your city that you could take a walk in the evenings or at the weekends, with your family?
I don't know.
That seems more the right thing to me.
Yeah. No, I mean, like
Well,
KL's not very walkable already. If you are a tourist
it's not
and you're
it's
trying
not
to
very
walk
walkable. Yeah,
between KLCC to Pavilion Mall, and
yeah,
it's between two malls, yeah, two very big malls.
yeah, yeah.
Yeah, you might get run over somewhere on Jalan Piramli.
Oh well, okay. I guess we'll have to end there.
Yeah.
All right. So I'll catch up with you next week.
Yes.
All right. Take care.